I got a really great question under one of my videos. We can see here. Hi, Rajat. Thank you for the video. I can save up to $200 per month. Do you advise me to invest in Caspa as well or all in Bitcoin? Could you please tell me, like in 10 years with $200 savings, how much I could end up with this? I'm assuming. So the first question here is, should you invest in Caspa as well or all in Bitcoin? All I can tell you that is that I don't personally buy Caspa. I don't like the narratives of other money being faster. If we needed faster money, we could just rely on the financial system. The financial system is fully centralized. I think we can complete transactions within a day or two, and I don't think we need it to be too much faster than that. If we need credit cards, we can use our if we need faster transactions, let's say we want to buy smaller things, say you want to pay for groceries and you don't really care about the security, you can use your credit card. You can just tap your credit card. And I think that's perfectly fine. I think if we wanted to go to another form of money and all we're looking is for is speed, then we'll just stay on the current financial system. The way that I see it, Bitcoin is better than every other cryptocurrency, every other form of money, because Bitcoin has the biggest network, first of all, and because Bitcoin is the most decentralized. Anybody can run a node from anywhere in the world. Nobody can stop them as long as you have connection to the internet. As long as you have an internet connected device, you can run a node. You can run a node for under $100 these days. And the good thing with Bitcoin is that the blockchain is very small. There is a limit to how many transactions can happen on the base blockchain, meaning that anyone in the world can run a node. The entire blockchain is under 1 terabyte right now. So what you can do is, if you want to, you can download the entire blockchain. You can download every single transaction that's ever happened, and you can make sure that going forward, every single transaction that happens through your node is confirmed. It mathematically makes sense. So I like that about Bitcoin. I haven't done the deep dive with Caspa. I don't really care to be honest. Maybe Caspa may be good for other things. Maybe you can use Caspa for something else. But I don't think anything can compete with Bitcoin at this point. I think Bitcoin's network, Bitcoin's brand has gotten so big. It's like if somebody wanted to compare something like McDonald's to some random mom and pop shop. McDonald's doesn't sell the best burgers. It doesn't have the best customer service, but McDonald's is going to very likely survive forever because people recognize that brand. So in terms of Bitcoin, it's not selling you the fastest transactions, it's not selling you the cheapest transactions, but what it's giving you is a base layer of money that nobody can manipulate. Nobody can stop from working. Nobody can change how Bitcoin works. Nobody can change the protocol because anybody can run their own computer that enforces the protocol. So that's the first thing. I don't personally care about Caspa. I don't think it's even relevant at this point. You can buy Caspa if you want to. I don't really care. But I'm personally looking at only Bitcoin. That's the answer to the first question. So the second question is, could you please tell me, like in 10 years with $200 savings, how much I would end up with? Let's say, for example, if you only put that $200 into Bitcoin, I'm going to show you in this calculator, this compound interest calculator that I created, how much your Bitcoin will be worth. So $200 per month we're going to focus on column C here. If you invest $200 per month, every month, if Bitcoin grows at 30% per year for the next 10 years, I think it'll be higher. I think it'll be 40, 50%. I think after that, maybe it'll decrease a little bit as adoption becomes more distributed. But in the first few years, I think it could be higher than this. We'll go very conservative. Let's say you're also getting a 5% cost of living raise every single year, and you're increasing your Bitcoin, the amount that you're putting into Bitcoin, so your investments in terms of fiat. You're increasing your Bitcoin allocation every single year by 5%. You're putting more money into Bitcoin every single year. So after 10 years, 2034, putting $200 per month at 30%, you'll end up with $245,000. That's $200 a month. But let's say instead of Bitcoin rising at 30%, let's say it completely underperforms. Let's say it goes to 20%. After 10 years, you'll get $124,000. And if it goes to zero, of course, you lose everything. But I think that's a risk that I'm personally willing to take based on the reward that I could potentially get from Bitcoin. I don't know if this person is going all in on Bitcoin. I don't know if this is all of the savings that they have. I don't know if maybe they have stocks, if they have real estate. So I'm not able to give you any advice on what to do with your savings. But let's say, for example, if Bitcoin gives you a 50% return, I think it's possible that Bitcoin over the next 10 years gives us a 50% return. By 2034, your $200 monthly investments will be worth $1.084 million if you keep buying more and more over time. You have to consistently buy. That's the thing. No matter what happens to the price, you're buying. If it goes up, if it comes down, you're regularly buying. Because if the price goes up and you keep buying, but then when the price comes down, you panic and you don't want to buy, you think it's going to zero, so you're just going to cut your losses, you're not going to get the same returns as this. So this number is with a 50% annual growth rate for the next 10 years. But let's say you can't afford $200. Let's say you want to only put $100 into Bitcoin, and then for whatever reason you want to buy Caspa. If you want to diversify, go for it. I don't really care. Let's say you can only do $100 in Bitcoin. After 10 years, you end up with $550,000 at a 50% growth rate. If you only put in $100 and the growth rate is 20%, after 10 years, you end up with $62,000. So that's not too bad. I mean, it's better than what you'd get with the stock market. So with the stock market, right now, the return is about 10%. With the stock market in 2034, you'd have $33,000. If you can outperform the stock market, I think you're doing pretty well. I think you're making more money than than inflation. I think this is a great hurdle rate. So if you put all that $100 into the S&P 500 every single month, and you only got a 10% return, you'd end up with $33,000. But if you put that money obviously into Bitcoin, 25, 50, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it gives a constant 75%, 80% return over the next 10 years. But again, bring your expectations down a little bit. Let's go a little bit more conservative so you don't end up with nearly nothing if it does underperform. So if it does give you 25%, you're going to end up with $86,000. And like I said, the spreadsheet is linked below. So download the spreadsheet and use it and just play around with the numbers. I strongly, strongly recommend it because being able to look at the numbers is the only way that you can actually plan for your future. If you can't look at the numbers, then you don't know what you're planning for. You don't know where things are going. You have no idea how much money you'll have saved. You have no idea what your expenses will look like. I've actually put an expenses portion on the spreadsheet as well, so you can see if your expenses rise by 3% per year, how much you'll be paying for your expenses in the future. So make sure you take a look at the spreadsheet. Go ahead and download it. You may not be able to adjust the numbers when they're on the Google Sheets. You just have to download it and then you can play around with the numbers. You can adjust them however you want to. If you have any comments, any suggestions, anything that you want me to add onto the spreadsheet, just comment below and I can add it on. As an example, the first version didn't have the frequency. It was all monthly investments. So now you can actually adjust this. You can change this from monthly to semi-annual to bi-weekly, weekly, daily, annually, however you want to do it. You can adjust the numbers.